I think that few things in life are more depressing than looking at the report coming out of a network scan. Uh, the skies are falling. All these things need to be fixed. And this is not a statement against any particular brand. This is the same on Nessus, on Rapid7, Qualys, or even QRadar's QVM as a network scanner. Anyone. So this is a general statement of the nature of the work. This is not a criticism of the network scanner. But the network scanner tells you a bunch of things that, you know. On the other hand, those who have BigFix and you know that BigFix knows what needs to be patched, there's normally a small set of things that it tells you that you need to do, but you can have some questions in from these two report who is right. And many companies spend a tremendous amount of manual work figuring out who is whether this patch is applicable. Also, that thing that my network scanner says that is being vulnerable, has it been patched by BigFix already? Has it been superseded? And this is something that, network scanners in general, are not good at all into determining it, which is, okay, this patch is not applicable because it has been superseded by the vendor with this other patch, and they don't do a good job on it. And BigFix, that is the bread and butter of BigFix. It does a good job on it. Is it relevant to my environment? Do I really have to apply this? Do I have all the components or any component that requires this? This is a big problem for many companies, and they spend a tremendous amount of manual work, and not even you had finished processing the result of last week network scanner when here comes another one with even more crap and more stuff to be fixed. So let me show you something that you can do if you have QRadar, and you'll see by the end of this video that some people may even want to buy a small instance of QRadar just to do that. And if you play with the vulnerabilities tab, how can you sort all this out? How can you figure out who is right, what needs to be applicable or not? Particularly because we're going to be showing how you can make use of a dynamic API call that you can do from the BigFix app to query BigFix in real time when you are working with a particular vulnerability. Let's actually show that in the demo. So in my system, I have very easily defined the vulnerabilities that I get both from BigFix. In fact, let me go here into VA scanners. Here's where I define the BigFix scanner. It was actually trivial to do. If I can edit here the definition so you can see all I need to do was to specify the actual address of the BigFix server, the port, the right credentials, and voila. And I schedule that to be brought as often as I want. In fact, I can either go here and bring the scan results right now. Show you how easy that is in case you've never dealt with that. If I put here the interval 0 hours, it means that I'll be bringing those results. Oh, I need to specify the port range. And that scan, it's going to take a very short amount of time compared with the time that takes you to your network scanner to actually work, and it's going to bring fresh vulnerability data from BigFix. I can do that every day easily if I want to. And in this demo system, I'm using QVM also as a network scanner. But again, this is applicable for Nessus, Rapid7, Qualys, all those exactly the same, because let me actually go back to the admin tab. You'll see that I can also bring vulnerability data from any one of those guys, as you see here, right? So again, network scanner from one side, my integration with BigFix, Who is right? How can I sort this out? Let's go into the vulnerability tab of QRadar QVM. Again, you can have the vulnerability tab, but you do not have to scan with QVM. You can use whatever scan you actually have. If we go to this particular machine, let's take anyone. This is a network scanner. Let's look at these 14 vulnerabilities in here. Let's take a look at the most recent one here, this CVE 2015. So again, you can go here and see all the details of that vulnerability, whether there is a patch for it. That's important, if your IDS can actually stop this or not. That's kind of useful, all that data. But the important thing that you want to know is that, well, is this really relevant? Is this really, does this exist? CVE 2015-2808, does that exist in my environment? Well, all I need to do is go to the integration with BigFix app and put here, these are going to be put in a CVE, and the CVE I'm putting is CVE 2015 2808, and ask BigFix, hey, is this thing exist real? No, that vulnerability is not there. In fact, we can even go to the actual, that's not the one, let me go to the actual BigFix instance that I have in here. Here's the BigFix server, and I can search. I was actually searching for that before. Notice that, you know, I got vulnerability for 2015. If I do 28, there are some vulnerability, actually not even one, with 2808. So again, this stuff does not exist in my system. I don't have to worry about that, and it can be, and if I want to learn some more, I can go back to the vulnerability tab and investigate, you know, the documentation that exists around this very easily. But I can use this tool even in a more effective way. I can perform a vulnerability search in which I can do things like, for example, found by scanner, and I'm going to put my network scanner. Again, in my case, it's QVM, but it can be whatever. So which vulnerability has been found by my network scanner, and which of those do have a patch that BigFix has created. That doesn't mean that exists in my environment. This external reference of type, if I select here IBM Endpoint Manager, which is BigFix, that means that for this vulnerability is found for my network scanner, BigFix has created a patch. Again, I do not know whether I need it in my environment or not. And I can perform that search and that sort all those. Let me actually go to the last page of it. I have a bunch of machines that I never have patched. So let's say that in the process of looking for those things found by my network scanner, with BigFix has something to do, a patch exists in BigFix. If I want to know whether that's applicable in my environment, let's take this vulnerability that is, you know, kind of a warning. And I notice I have the dual value, the CVE and the MS. And if I go, this 4116, if I go to my BigFix application for QRadar, that's 2016 4116, and I do a search, say, no, you don't have that. Don't worry about it. If I want to, you know, see why is it that I see it, why did the scanner found that? Notice that if I already search on this one, if I search in here for 2016, notice that this vulnerability, which has been accepted, is being superseded. I mean, there's no business. It exists, as you see here. Everything that is grayed out means it's not relevant, so it's not applicable, and that's what I wanted to show, non-relevant content in here for you to see. This is a particular case on, you know, the network scanner found this. Yeah, but you don't have to worry about it, and here's the proof, and you can investigate each and every one of these and determine who is right. Chances are that most of the time BigFix is going to be quite right. There might be some particular network vulnerabilities where there is not a patch and you need to do some, you know, configuration changes or something else that doesn't have a fixlet, and in that case you will find it in here, and you will know how to deal with it. But this is a great way of really bringing all the data into QRadar, doing some smart searches using the vulnerability tab, and sort your vulnerabilities in the best way. And also, let's not forget that you can sort your vulnerabilities with multiple conditions like this, and notice that you can combine these. Have these been exploited? Impact, integrity. Does it has a patch from a particular vendor of IPS, IDS? All these parameters you can search your vulnerabilities, sort them in the right way, and with this fantastic interface into BigFix, without you even knowing what BigFix is all about, you can actually figure out whether that thing exists or not. Let's take another example. This 2018 8304. We go to my interface. It's a recent vulnerability 2018 A304. Is that right? And I look for it and say, hey, and is this stuff? Should I worry about this? Is this in any one of our machine? Oh yeah, sure it is. It's in this particular machine. And now you know that you have the information, you have the CVE and the MS number to tell your BigFix counterpart, hey, we need to patch this machine. And in fact, this is my 203 machine, which I leave on patch because that's a machine that I attack vulnerabilities on all the time. But I hope that I have shown you a much better way of really consolidate the information coming from your network scanner and from BigFix, and determine what is relevant, what is not, what has been superseded, why you should worry and what you should not. And most important of them all, you have a way of actually proving your case to the auditor in case that they want to know why is it that you are not worried about this or that particular vulnerability.